The Portland Pickle.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Portland Pickle, the only talk show that interviews authors named Jerry Spinelli. My name is Marie Lemur, and I will be your host this evening. Today we have a special guest. Can any of you guess who it is? Yeah, you got it. Please welcome Jerry Spinelli, author of Stargirl, Milkweed, Loser, and a number of other award-winning books. Hello, Mr. Spinelli. How are you today?
Oh, please, call me Jerry. But I'm quite well, though, thank you very much. My wife and Eileen and I just got back from a walk around our home in Phoenixville.
Oh, so you live in Pennsylvania? Thanks for coming to sit down with us. Could you tell us a bit about your childhood and where you grew up?
Yes, my wife Eileen and I have lived in Phoenixville for quite some time now. Although I did grow up in Norristown with my parents, Louis and Lorna Mae Spinelli. But to tell you the truth, I had quite a normal upbringing. My parents were there all the time, and I always had bikes laying around the front lawn, and there was always clothes hanging on the door handles.
Did you always want to be a writer?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't. Up until the age 11, I wanted to be a cowboy. I remember once, maybe 2nd or 3rd grade, I woke up one morning and decided to put on my cowboy outfit, complete with spurs on my boots. And I walked to school that way, because in those days you had to walk to school, you know. I didn't know what people might have thought of this little kid walking down the street in his cowboy outfit. I got to school and I went up in front of the class and I sang the song, "I Have the Spurs, Jingle, Jangle, Jingle."
Okay, so you went through a cowboy phase. I think I went through a ton of princess phases before I decided to be a journalist and even a reporter. But did you have another experience that shaped who you are?
Well, I went through a sports phase like every other 12-year-old boy. I dreamed about being the next shortstop for the New York Yankees, but during my junior year of high school, I made another switch. I wrote a poem called Goal to Go about my high school's big football game that they had just won. And my dad entered it in the local newspaper. So that kind of really started off my career.
So did college and book publishing come next?
Yes. I went to college at Gettysburg College where I received my BA in English. And then a year later, I received my MA in creative writing from Johns Hopkins University. After the university, I went on to serve 6 months in the U.S. Naval Air Reserves. And then about 2 decades later, my first book was published.
Wow, you received multiple degrees and were in the reserves? Did you have any time for fun or romance?
Well, in 1977, I married the love of my life, Eileen. Does that count?
Yes, it does, Jerry. Is your wife a children's author as well?
Yes, indeed she is, Marie. In fact, she's written a number of different stories about one of her most famous characters, Lizzie Logan. Lizzie Logan wears purple sunglasses, Lizzie Logan gets married, just to name a few. Anyway, we have 6 kids together, and the funny thing is, a lot of our daily routines have been the inspiration for some of my stories. Some of the conflicts that have come up in our household have shaped some of the stories that I have written, and even some of our crazy neighbors have become the crazy cat lady who lives 2 doors down in some of my stories. Life is full of happy accidents.
What was the first book you wrote, Jerry, and how many books have you written in total?
Well, by the time I turned 41, I established myself as a writer. I had written 2 books by then, Space Station 7th Grade, which was my first, and Who Put That Hair in My Toothbrush? And then I wrote a sequel to Space Station called Jason and Marceline. Let's see. As of right now, I have written 12 young adult novels and 1 autobiography called Knots in My Yo-Yo String, which I am very proud of, and you should read.
Well, that's all we have time for tonight, folks. Again, thank you so much for joining us here in Portland, Mr. Spinelli. And as a parting gift, a jar of pickles.
Wow, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And Jerry Spinelli, everybody. From here at the Portland Pickle, we thank you for tuning in to our broadcast tonight. I'm Marie Lemur, and until next time, Portland, good night.